Hi, this is Margaret Dovgal, and this is another installment of the Innovation Forum. Today, I'm joined to break here in Fort St. John by representatives of the Northern Innovation Network. And we're going to start off with a simple question. Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Meiting. I'm the Executive Director of the Northern Innovation Network, and I inspire people to embrace technology, use technology, create technology that goes alongside industry and resources, but also digital tech.
That sounds really exciting. And how about yourself?
Shannon Stengey. I'm also with Northern Innovation Network, and I am the regional liaison for the whole northeastern BC.
And how did each of you get into the space of promoting innovation and helping cultivate it?
I think I went away and I lived in Vancouver for many years, and then I lived overseas, and then I came back to my hometown, Prince George. And what I realized is that there are a lot of innovative things that are happening here, and there's a lot of opportunities. But sometimes people they're busy in the field and they're MacGyvering something. They're making something work. They don't realize that they've actually created IP and that there's maybe a commercialization opportunity for that. And so bringing that mindset about what are you working on and what can you bring to market? How about yourself, Shannon?
A lot of what I'm doing up here is working with people to help them see themselves as innovators. I think the problem I think that a lot of people up here, like you were saying, they're MacGyvers. Yeah. They don't see themselves as innovators, and helping them see themselves as part of the solution for not just their problem, but for the province, the country, and the world as a whole.
This is going to be a tough one to answer, I'm sure, because you probably see so many innovators doing cool and interesting things, MacGyvering their way through the problems of this region and beyond. But yeah, what are your favorite innovations? Starting with you, Shannon.
Well, why don't you talk about the forefront idea? Because that's probably one of, but the problem is that I just learned about it today, so I'm not the one who's expert on it. Mary would be the better one who would explain this idea.
Sure. So it sounds like a lot of really exciting innovations that are happening here. Not that you have to pick just one, but do you have a favorite one that you'd like to share with the class?
Well, we're working with Forefront Energy, and they have created a solar power generator that is powerful enough to run a gas well. So having electricity on a well wasn't always important, but because of not being able to vent methane, now electricity is very important because it's what's controlling the pressure. And so this gives them an option of having something that is on site. It's not run by the natural gas. It's actually run by the power of the sun. And there's lots of sun in northeast BC. And so it runs these wells very effectively. They've also got some hydraulics that they're using that also control that gas pressure. And they've got a zero-emissions generator that's going to be unveiled very, very shortly. And it can create a lot of power just from the differential of the flow of the gas. So when they're controlling the gas, it's complicated, but I'm doing my best to explain it. They're controlling the flow of the gas, kind of what, you have a barbecue and you have that big thing on the end of the pipe that goes onto the gas. That's controlling the gas flow. And so the differentiation between the gas flow that's coming, the pressure that's coming, and what's going into the barbecue can actually generate electricity in a loop. So amazing things that they're doing, and it's not because they're very clever people, but they've spent a lot of time working on those well sites. And so they know them and they know what works. And that's what we're talking about with the MacGyvering. It's kind of like people who work with something every day know how to unlock it. And there have been universities that have been working on a zero emissions generator and trying to get it done. And here are these people who just have 25 years of oil and gas experience. They've actually done it. So that's what we mean. The resiliency of people and their brilliance comes out and the expertise comes out.
And part of the problem, of course, is that a lot of these guys, they don't even know that they have something, right? Like there's an owner of a major pipeline up here, and I was talking with his CFO yesterday, and she was telling me about all these things that he has invented over, a generation of building this huge company up here. And I said, so how many of those things has he patented and are being used by other corporations? And she said, well, none, we just use them. And so this is the problem, right? Like, how do we get our people in this region to see themselves as people who can solve a global problem and not just a local problem?
Yeah, well said. Absolutely. And that's not just in the Northeast. There's also things happening in the Northwest that, people are bringing products to market. There's high-tech drilling over in Smithers, BC, world-class drilling operation. The owner still lives in Smithers, BC because he loves the opportunity of living there. And they come up against a rock. It's like, how are we going to get around this? Well, we got to drill through it. So we have to create a new type of drill. And so what they do is they patent that drill, they commercialize it, they sell it into the industry. And I think they're kind of like a poster child of what should be happening across industries. And, got lots of interesting things happening in Prince George, too. We've got a gentleman who started out building an electric catamaran, took it down to Florida, realized, I don't have enough solar power to create enough electricity. And instead of just giving up, he said, I need to create a new solar panel because there's only so much room on a boat, right? Like, you've got the deck and you've got the deck. And so he's created a solar panel that is literally like this thin. And you can walk on it. It's hard. They put a grip on it so it's non-slip. And there's different cells within this composite so that even if you have like a chair half on the cell, the rest of the cell still works. So this is the kind of innovation that's happening. And it's because people meet their needs, but we also have to learn to share our innovation and make sure the rest of the province and the rest of the world knows about it.
So it's getting a little bit colder. So I think I'm going to wrap us up with a single question. What kind of advice do you have to innovators across the province, across the country? Conquering self-doubt, that's one thing very important. But if there's something you wish innovators knew beyond just the value of their potential innovation, what would that lesson be?
I think that it would be that there are people that want to help you.
Yeah.
And if you understood, sometimes we just don't know how willing other people are to say, and without even ulterior motives, like I need something from you to help you. It's because we have a global problem and there's a global will to solve it. And quite often the innovator, they're thinking about, I've got to protect my idea instead of saying, how can people help me bring this idea to a larger audience? Quite often we get caught in that mindset of, how much of my company will I have to give up? And they're thinking about a pie this small, but they forget the fact that the pie can grow, it can become big, and your slice, even if it gets smaller, or if it, in other words, you've got more pie.
Yeah.
Right. And it's that mentality of bringing this openness to the conversation by inviting other people into your world to help them or give them the opportunity to help you solve the problem for the world.
Collaborate, work in partnership with others. Mary, what are your thoughts on what you wish innovators knew?
I think that we're just, and this is that self-doubt, is that we're humble people and we're hardworking people. But I think that sometimes when you don't bring your ideas forward, when you keep them, you're doing a disservice, not just to yourself, but to everybody who needs to share in that. And we don't know how transformative the idea that we have could actually be. And so don't sit on it, bring it forward, talk to someone about it. And whether it's your local chamber of commerce or your community future or your tech accelerator like Northern Innovation Network, talk to someone about it to see, does this have any legs? And if it does, and sometimes you'll get a no, it doesn't. But go and talk to the next person because you just don't know.
That's right.
Thank you so much for your time. This has been Margaret Adovgal with the Innovation Forum.